NRL Fantasy Injury Watch. We are coming out of Origin, heading into the end game, and we're having a look at all the players coming out of Origin, who's going to back up, who's not, who's carrying injury, who's going to come good, and who is going to potentially cause problems for your fantasy side. Now, I've got Rob here today. Welcome, mate.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me on the show, mate.
Mate, stoked to have you on. Now, look, you're a bit of an expert in this space, definitely more of an expert than I am. So give us an intro. Let everyone know what you do.
Yeah, man. So I'm third year sports science at the moment. I'm about to finish my final semester this year. I currently am with the Dragons at the moment, helping with their Pathways program, the NRLW Pathways. So I'm doing some of the younger girls, getting them into tip-top shape for the NRLW that is to come for them. So I run strength and conditioning sort of blocks for them, do warm-ups. I do conditioning blocks. I'll get them in the gym soon for the pre-season, and reducing the risk of injury as well. There's a big term called prehab out there.
Yeah.
Reducing that chance of injury in the first place, and so it's a big thing of mine. Footy and physiotherapy. So very keen to get talking about fantasy because first year fantasy, I'm pretty keen, man. First year fantasy
that's
for
awesome.
me.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Good. And you're sort of behind the curtains there too. So it's actually really cool to have you on here because we were talking before. Often I give a bit of general speculation about injuries, but you can actually talk about how it's dealt with in NRL clubs. So, guys, we're going to go through game by game here from Origin. Just work our way down 1 to 17 and talk about anyone who might be carrying injury issues. We'll start with Dylan Edwards, Brian Tor. Is there anything to talk about with Edwards, or should we jump straight to Brian here?
No, Edwards seemed fine during that game. No issue with Edwards. If anything, he's a pod for the run home, definitely. Yeah, good check.
How about Brian then, mate? What are you thinking?
Brian, yeah. So Brian was dealing with that LCL injury for the past 3 weeks. Now the LCL, he did a grade 2 tear on his knee there. That scares a lot of people, but he didn't injure anything with that LCL. So usually with an LCL, you sort of get into a bit of the ACL and the PCL as well. But if you do just isolate the LCL injury itself, the recovery period is actually pretty quick, and he seemed really good. He seemed really good during that Origin game. He was the star for the New South Wales team. Look, I don't think there's any worries with Brian Toller at the moment. He's looking pretty healthy. Obviously, there is a good chance of re-injury though throughout the home stretch though. He's got that hamstring problem, and now followed with that LCL as well. He could, he could see another injury down the field. I hope not. He's such a good player to watch. And honestly, if you want to own him as a pod as well, Brian Toller is amazing to watch. Like he can do 200 plus meters a game.
Specky pod though. Specky pod for someone with a bit of re-injury risk.
Smoky.
And let's jump straight to it because we were talking before as well. I'm going to skip past all these boys. We can jump back to Cleary if we need to, but Payne Haas is the next one here. So Payne Haas, we were chatting before. Some things to be aware of here. Talk me through it, man.
Yeah, Payne Haas is the big one. He's the big talk about this stretch home for fantasy. Healthy Payne Haas, absolute keeper in that middle spot, but he's had that back issue for a while now, and it does not seem to be backing down. We saw that heat pack wrapped around him before the Origin game. Good news, that's a heat pack, not an ice pack. The heat means that the swelling and the inflammation has already occurred, and he's back on that recovery sort of period, getting that blood flow into the back there, repairing the muscles and the ligaments around there. But there is no real signs of it slowing down that back injury there. And Broncos have been sort of describing it as back tightness. Like it's definitely not back tightness, Longy. It's definitely not. It's something more than that. I'm starting to think it's something around a slip disc, like a herniated disc or a lumbar sprain down in that area.
Mate, no fun. We both had those as well. So obviously not playing at the level of Payne Haas. But it's a struggle, man. Can't get up.
To be honest. Yeah, straight up.
So all right, well that's it done. By the way, we don't do puns here. Okay.
No.
Anyway, keep on rolling, man.
Only professional from here now, Longy.
Oh yeah.
So We personally know that like any wrong movement with a slip disc, you could be crawling off the field at any time. So you saw in round 16, Payne, he was on an absolute mission that game. 101, he's offloading like an absolute beast that he usually is. And then come round 17, good old 49 for you. We showed a prime example of what would happen when Haas inflames that lower back area there. So sort of mirroring like what would happen with a slip disc. And yeah, he had a big spell off the field during that game. Now, throughout the season, he's had groin complaints, he's had quad complaints. I'm starting to think that that's sort of related to his lower back injury. There's something called sciatica. It relates to the nerves that runs down from your lower back all the way down through your legs. If those are inflamed, then if that's inflamed, then he can also experience like groin troubles, quad troubles. So there's so many angles to it that he could be experiencing, and I feel like he's very injury prone for the run home, because if he doesn't have a long rest or long sit out, he's just gonna the cycle will just begin again. He'll inflame it, and he'll have those boom games still, but then he'll just have those 49s again as well.
So you think there's a big re-injury? Well, I guess you mentioned a bit of re-injury risk. Is there a good chance? And obviously, I'm not asking. You're not at the Broncos, right?
No.
So you don't know for sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, you could pick a better club than the Broncos, but but yeah, with Payne Haas though, is there a chance they say, you know what, we got the Titans this week, we have a bye next week, 2.5 weeks before the next game, we're going to give him a rest and get that right, so we can run him on the run home and into the finals.
Yeah, I like that. So they're going to pick up the 2 points from the bye anyways, and Titans, easier matchup.
Yeah. So 2 byes in a row, really, but
yeah. Okay, stop the Titans slander. I feel like they're on they're going to come on a good run home.
Oh no, when Cleary comes back, I'm all about the Titans, bro. When Cleary comes back, I'm in it. But until then, Anyway, so do you think he plays that game though, or gets a rest, or?
I'm not there looking at him, but if he didn't inflame it at all during that Origin period, I think it's a great sort of 2.5 week span where you can just rest him. Like those Broncos physios, they're going to get an absolute run for their money massaging that big boy for about 2.5 weeks straight on. He's going to get a lot of treatment throughout that, because think about it, Payne Haas is $1.1 million per year. $40,000 is each game of Payne Haas, So you're paying him $40,000 per game. If he's missing out on a game, you better be making sure that you're getting him tip-top shape for the next, 7 games on the home run. So, Longy, I think they should rest him, honestly. But if he backs up, we saw him back up from game 2 and have an absolute blinder, they might be influenced by that and play him. It's sort of 50-50 at the moment. I would not put the C on him, but it's a tough one. We'll probably have to wait till, the late mail.
Their last game of the round. That's the thing.
Yeah, and last game of the round. It's such a tough one. Yeah.
You have a bit of flexibility though. Isaiah Yeo plays 2 hours before. So if there's Haas news that he's not going to play late, you can then move to Yeo and bring him into the team. But I think what we can assert here is he's probably not a bye this week. With the bye next week as well, with the things you've flagged here, probably one where you just go, you know what, I'm going to wait till round 21 and hope that's sweet. It sounds like, based on what you're saying, that the bye week will be gold for this, even if he does play. So round 21 could potentially be back to prime Haas, which I hope he is back to prime Haas. Let's keep pumping through though, man. Yeah. Let's pop through these players. Cleary had that groin issue in game 2. He seems to be fine now. Do you have any concerns at all about him, or do you think he's pretty sweet?
No, I think he's pretty sweet. It was just a small groin complaint. Might have just been a bit of tightness around that area. So I think him not goal kicking was a precaution, because with goal kicking, you're sort of bringing your leg around using those adductor muscles, the groin. So you didn't want to see any further injury of that groin there. So I think he's all good. I think he's an absolute weapon to play. I mean, I've got personal issues with him now after that game 3, to be honest with you. So I don't
Yeah,
own Cleary, but after that performance, I don't want to bring him back in my side now.
mate. No, he's totally going to just come out and destroy Parramatta at a revenge. Like that's how I see this happening. And
Yeah,
I'm not
such a
looking forward to
Cleary
it as a
thing.
Para fan, but
No, yeah, come on. No,
yeah,
I tipped Parra, by the way. So if that makes you
yeah.
feel any
Well,
better.
big call.
Yeah,
Big. I mean,
yeah, big call. No
defense your backs
Moses.
up, eh? Well, let's
Yeah,
keep
it
running through
does.
then. Like, so I mean,
Yeah.
Gus Crichton. Do you have anything to flag on him? A lot of people looking at Gus Crichton, Isaiah Yeo, Connor Watson, potentially Hudson Young as well.
Yeah, I've got 2 of those 4 that sort of got talking points. I say there was reports of him limping off the field. I mean, that's just from your Discord along, so I don't know if someone's stirring the pot there. He did play 80 minutes. That's the thing. So he played an absolute. He was like the best on field for the Blues alongside Toller. His work rate was really good. He got the most tackles, 46 tackles. I think it might just be cramps at this point. You know, he was putting his body on the line for that game. Again, we'll hear in the 24-hour mail whether he'll be backing up or not. I don't think he will after playing 80 minutes.
Wow, mate, that's big.
Yeah,
that's big news.
That's the thing. But you know, he's got a motor in him. So at this point, you know, see the 24-hour mail and make a judgment on that. But I think he'll be fine for the run home. He's an absolute beast. Yeah.
That makes Connor Watson even more enticing as well. And I think keep yourself flexible. That's the other thing. Like if you're buying Haas, if you're buying Yo, you know, such plays. I'm okay with it, but you got to keep it reversible. The trade, like you've just got to make sure that can be swapped back at any time, and maybe you have a loophole guy instead. Who was the other guy you had on this list, by the way?
Yeah, Hudson Young.
Osteitis, right?
Osteitis pubis. Very close.
Wow, close, yeah.
Very close. Hey, why am I here, mate?
to correct things like that, man. But yeah, like, do you have any concerns? I mean, they got the bye this week. He looked all right in Origin as well, but
yeah, he looked fine in Origin. It's similar to Haas, you know. It's whether he re-aggravates it or not. You know, it's not really. He's got the cortisone injections going on in there. Same with Haas. So they're trying to reduce the inflammation quite a lot around that area. Same with Haas. If he does inflame it in a game, then he's going to get a really low score. As we saw, I think in round 16 or 17, he got that 30 score. Prime example of what would happen if he does it again in a game. But now this rest period with the bye, I think he'll be okay. Again, he'll be going through a lot of recovery protocols to get that inflammation out and then repair as much as they can. It's a very painful injury. So if it does reignite, then, you know, he's going to struggle quite a lot. But he is an absolute goer for edge back row spot. I'm considering him as well because he's got that high break even around 20. I think I could plug him in around 21 or 22 for sure if he's better.
Need to see it. The concern there is Simi Sasangi's been so good though off the bench. So if you buy Hudson Young and there's even a shadow of an injury there, and Simi Sasangi's kind of earned his place into 40 minutes. Hoskins been playing well as well. You know, you have that resting risk there, and they're in such a great spot in the ladder where they could go, you know what? Let's give Hudson Young a bit of a rest at the back end of games, or down the stretch, give him a rest in round 26, round 27. That's my one thing I'm thinking about there, because I'm looking at these players just going, even something minor that you flag, I'm just thinking, it's a bit dicey. Now, into Queensland, bro. We've got a few here.
Sorry, just a quick note on Raiders. Matty Nicholson might actually be coming back soon.
Really soon? I thought it was still 4 weeks-ish.
So 4 weeks, I guess that's pretty soon, right? Because if you're considering Huddy Young as an option, then Matty Nicholson is a straight swap for him at this point, because Hosking's still playing well. And we know Matty Nicholson's form this year so far. So honestly, they could be resting him on the tail end there.
That's a good point. Hosking playing in the middle. He's been good.
Everyone's been Ricky's Raiders insane.
Josh Pavlidis's been insane down the stretch. He's had the best year, by the way. This send-off season for him. I'm not a Raiders fan or a Queensland fan, but he wins the series. He gets called back in for game 3. On his 300th game, he scores a double as a prop. Like, he has just had
the conversion.
Perfect. Yeah, they they're gonna win the comp, bro. Like you have to think that's just gonna happen to him at this stage.
That's the happy ending at that point. Yeah. Oh,
Mate, the
he's having a
greatest
run.
final season ever. Now Queensland, hit me with it. Who have you got jotted down for Queensland so we know what we're going
John
through?
down Queensland. I've got two main points. We got Big Tino and we got Reece Walsh, who didn't even play
Beauty, mate.
anyways. But Big Tino, he played 40 minutes for the Origin yesterday. So I feel like that was meant to be his role in the first place because they got Paddy Carrigan, they got Lindsay Collins off the bench as well, Kurt Mann. So they've got a lot of choice in the forward back there to take over from Tino. So they just wanted him to be out there, impact for 40 minutes. And to be fair, that impact was good. I felt like he was throwing his body out there this time. I don't know if it's just the adrenaline pumping in him or whether he's actually getting better. Now he has said that he's getting better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it? Yeah, he did say that.
Yeah, he did that.
He's feeling better. Yeah, so that's a good sign up because Big Tino, he's high break even 640k, looking good for a round 20 pick here.
I'm with you there completely, man. Yeah, 72 points is that break even. So
yeah,
you can afford to wait and see. All right, looking at this week then, for you to say he's all good, obviously one, you're not wanting him to see him wincing, pulling out of contact, that kind of thing, contact. But second thing, are you looking for a certain number of minutes or a certain level of effectiveness, or like what are you looking for in that performance?
Tino's sort of like that 0.8 ppm guy.
Yeah.
Almost up to 1 on a good game. He plays up to 70 minutes, so he's like similar to Year, but I feel like he's even more fun to watch than Year at that point.
Yeah.
He's a heavy hitter. He's really good to watch, and Titans need him to be playing that 70-minute role if they want to get a roll on. So for this round, see if he's playing 70 minutes. I would assume after Origin 40 minutes played, they might limit it to 60. I'd say if he plays 60 minutes, that is a really good sign. That means
Sunday, it's 6 p.m. game.
Yep, so Sunday 6 p.m. against
pretty long rest.
Yep.
Though, does that factor in?
Yeah, that definitely does factor in. Only 40 minutes in the game. He's got 4 days rest. Feeling better, playing with the sternum injury. I reckon he's in for a good one this round. He won't hit his break even, I don't think, but he will definitely start improving now, for sure.
Yep. Big Tino, round 20. I love that. That plays into exactly what I wanted to do too. So I'm glad that you gave that advice. And
I expect this graphic on the buy, hold, sell, Ollie.
I'll put your face on it. Reece Walsh is the last one here, bro. So he didn't play this game, but obviously he's had some pretty high profile injury issues this year. Has come back, has performed really well, but not looked comfortable. Looked a bit more comfortable recently. What do you think about him?
Yeah, so with Reece, he had that PCL injury near the start of the season, and it was when Kurt Capewell fell onto his knee, and it sort of just buckled down, which then sort of put strain on the PCL there. Knee injuries aren't something to mess with, but luckily PCLs are a rare mechanism, so the chance of re-injury for Walsh is relatively lower than those with an ACL and MCL injury. So people think knee injury, oh no, don't do it, don't buy something like that. But PCL is a bit lower risk of re-injury. You can see with Walsh's playing style, it's more of a mental thing for him. He's starting to get more confident. He's starting to build that confidence up. He's got that leg sleeve on. It's sort of just a peace of mind thing as well for him. So I expect him to be going on a good run for this run home. Is he a buy, Longy, do you reckon?
I mean, his best years are in those low 50s areas. So if you're buying him, you're either very poor, which is okay, or you're someone who thinks the Broncos and Reece Walsh will go on a nuclear run. Now, Titans match up this week is a reason to buy this week. Buy next week is a reason not to. So there's pros and cons there. The question is probably more, if someone does have him in their team, do they persist with him? Or is that injury a reason to get rid of him? Now, just from a pure fantasy perspective, my forecast on him is that he'll hit that sort of low 50s mark. I think he's one of the best loophole guys in the game. The Broncos play a lot of Friday games. They keep that nice and nice for them. So he'll be a loophole wing fullback you can use down the stretch. As long as you think that injury is going to get better, that's kind of the big thing, because he has looked a bit hobbled, and it does impact his work rate. So I've seen tackle breaks and run meters in particular, especially when he looks a bit hurt, they are lower, even if he does score a couple of tries. So I mean, do you see that confidence growing as he goes along, or what do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah. I see that confidence growing for him, for sure. He's starting to get into that rhythm of things again. He's starting to get through those line breaks now. Honestly, he could, as you said, great looping option. He could have those boom games, get those 2 or 3 tries in the game. He's electric to watch. He's like, sometimes you just got to get those players on your team that you love watching. And the thing is, I don't think he will struggle with that knee too much for the rest of the season. I think it'll be pretty clear to buy on him, especially in round 21. Yeah, round 21. If you need like sort of a mid-range winger fullback, he'll be great to watch.
Or if you got him this week and you need the loophole next week, that's not the worst thing. You got a guy like Turbo sitting on your bench, and Reece Walsh can be that loop guy. Cool, man. As long as that's all good from the injury front. So I did play, like when I was playing footy, much lower level than Reece Walsh. I did do a PCL tear in a season, and so I sort of do know about it a bit. It was a bit of it's a weird like backwards buckle kind of feeling.
Doesn't feel pleasant, doesn't it?
It's a bit awkward, yeah. But it was just
like right in like the inside, right?
Yeah, it's a bit gross, but it didn't really impact strength or anything like that. It just was kind of sore, so I just thought it was going to go away, and then I got scans done at the end of the year, and I said it's actually this. So okay. Any other injuries that you want to talk about though? Like, is there anyone else outside of Origin? I'm just trying to think of anyone that we might want to flag. Like, I'm putting you on the spot here. What about Hopgood? Like, people have talked about potentially the back injury from last year that's holding him back, or like, do you have any thoughts on him? Or feel free to jump to another player if you haven't thought about Hopgood too much.
Yeah. So what Jermaine Hopgood had, was it a lower back injury last year?
Yeah.
Similar to sort of Haas. Yeah, so, well, as you know, Longy, mate, we're 2 people with a bit of chronic back pain. We know that, like, as soon as you, like, slip something like a disc in that lumbar spine, it's a really hard thing to get out. And it's more whether you can manage it rather than cure it. So I feel like Hopgood's just sort of, he's getting lower minutes this year. I feel like that injury's still putting a play into his work rate. It's a bit of a long shot though to assume whether it's the back himself that's stopping him from playing so good.
It's like a guess, yeah. It's been thrown around a bit.
Exactly. Like, unless you're in the Eels medical team, it's kind of hard to get a grasp of it. But yeah, I think definitely would put a block into his top form. So yeah.
Okay. And outside of him, anyone else you wanted to chat on?
Ewan Aitken's a grey area.
Oh yeah, lower leg issue, vaguely. So he did look to me in that game before the game he missed in round 17. I thought he did his hammy at one point, and he went off for 5 minutes, and he came back on. So it can't have been a hammy. Like, no one comes back on after a hammy, right? So
yeah.
He sort of pulled up like it was that. Maybe it was something else. There's not a lot of clarification.
It was a 75-minute game, right?
Yes, he went off for about 5 minutes, then came back.
Was there any contact during? Because I didn't see the game. Was there any contact during the injury?
I thought it looked. Well, I'm guessing when it was the injury, right? I thought he looked like he'd done a hammy at one point, but maybe for future episodes we can get footage. Actually run it through. Yeah,
I'll do some homework for that and get some footage for you guys. Yeah, absolutely. But he might have been dealing with some tightness and he complained about it and then gave him a rub and put him back out. It could just be as simple as that, and then it's just persisted until training that day, and then it's just it's unfortunate for him. I own him personally, and I'm sending him off next round, because there's a lot of ambiguity about that whole thing.
It's tricky.
In terms of everyone else, though, I'm just looking through the list. Everyone seems fine. Um, Apart from Latrell Mitchell getting an absolute boot to the crown jewels yesterday.
Yeah, I think he'd be sweet, man. He'll be sweet,
Yeah,
or he'll be gone. One of the two.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's pretty funny, but yeah.
yeah.
Apart from
Poor
that,
guy.
mate, yeah, all sweet. Just the main people to consider is definitely Huddy Young and Payne
Mm.
Haas, and maybe Brian Toller in terms of fantasy. Apart from that, and like, yeah, everyone came out of that game pretty unscathed, and it was pretty big shocker from New South Wales, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
Ugh. Well, mate,
came for the
look,
home run.
even
Yeah,
though the game was a shocker, good having you on today. So, a
yeah,
bit of an injury watch. We'll get
mm,
you on a bit more as well going forward because, like I was saying to you before, I throw around a bit of speculation. Biz does as well. We're sort of running the eye test a bit as guys who have played a bit of footy, but like we're not at your level, right? So appreciate you jumping on, and giving a bit of actual expertise, and we can sort of have a look at how Reece Walsh plays this week, how Haas plays if he does, and sort of assess those things going forward. So
yeah,
appreciate it, man.
absolutely. I'm keen for this round. Keen for the stretch home. So yeah, I'll keep a close watch on the injuries for you, and then yeah, we'll talk soon.
Beauty, man. All right, let's rip in. Cheers,
Go
everyone.
easy.
Catch you later.